What's up, Radiant Icons, and welcome back to Dare to Be Iconic, the podcast made for icons daring to be themselves. I'm your host, Amanda Policelli, and you guys, I am finally back from my trip to Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix. And yes, I am very sad, but I'm also very excited to spill all this tea with you guys. If you weren't following the live updates that I was posting on my social media pages, well, one, what are you doing with your life? And two, oh, you guys are in for a treat if you weren't, because I wrote down my lessons from the Spanish Grand Prix, and we're going to go through them one by one. And I promise you, each lesson has a very entertaining story to tell. Like, that's just this episode. So I have so much tea to spill that I'm splitting up my trip to Spain in two parts. Yes, that's right. A two-parter, everyone. Okay. So the first one is going to be this one right here. It's going to be my lessons from the Spanish Grand Prix. Next week, I will be answering all your questions about my trip to Spain in general. Everything and anything that you guys sent me on Instagram about my Spain trip, including the Grand Prix, will be answered in next week's episode. Now, I know what you all are thinking. Amanda, did you meet Lando Norris? I did not meet Lando Norris, unfortunately, but it's okay. I will meet him eventually. But you want to know who I did meet? I met Logan Sargeant. That's right, everyone. I met the only American driver on the grid, Logan Sargeant. Yeah. And then I met all the Williams drivers. I met Leah, I met Franco, I met Zach, I met Luke, like literally everyone and anyone. And that has to do with the Williams fan zone. So let's get into it. The first lesson from the Spanish Grand Prix. Being nice and staying true to yourself always pays off, because at the end of the day, what you put out into the world is what you receive. So, let's get into it. The first one, being nice and staying true to yourself always pays off, because at the end of the day, what you put out in the world is what you receive. I solely believe that we would have not met Logan if it wasn't for the kindness and the genuineness that we were putting out when we were interacting with the Williams team. So let me get into how I met Logan Sargeant. I obviously had been traveling with Danny. You guys know Danny. She's been on the Dare to Be Iconic podcast. I talk about her all the time. So I traveled with her to Spain, as we all know. I met Kimmy and Jordan. They met us at our hotel Tuesday night for dinner, and then we were going to go out clubbing. That was the first time we met each other. Great, hit it off, and we're like, okay, we're going to the Williams fan zone tomorrow, like, let's meet up. So we got there early in the morning. Kimmy and Jordan got there before us, and they were at the front because there was going to be a Q&A with the F2, F3, and F1 Academy driver, Leah Block. If you guys don't know F1 Academy, Leah is the Williams driver, and it's so amazing, and I love her. But anyway, they were standing at the front for the Q&A while Danny and I were taking some pictures, getting some content, so on and so forth, and then we met up with them there. Kimmy and Jordan went to the Miami race, and at the Miami race, they also had a Williams fan zone pop up. And the person who was, his name is James, but Kimmy knew the person who conducts the interviews for the drivers at the Williams fan zone. And I guess somehow he was like bestie. Like, I don't remember how she told us this happened, but he was like, oh, you can call me bestie or whatever. And if there's one thing about Kimmy, I know you're listening to this right now, she's going to hold you to what you say. So James comes up from the steps, and Kimmy's like, hey, bestie. James whips around, and he's like, who just called me bestie? Like, like, what is going on? So Kimmy's over there like waving and everything, and he comes over to us and he's like talking to us, and Kimmy's like, oh, like from Miami, like this and that, you told me I can call you bestie, blah 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 blah. And we basically tell him, oh yeah, we're like 4 American girls, we traveled to the Spanish Grand Prix, blah, blah, blah. And he literally looked at us and he goes, you guys traveled all the way here to Spain? Okay, interesting. And we're like, yeah, of course we did, of course we did. Anything for Lando Norris, right? So anyway, He's like, so I need you to ask some questions. And we said, don't worry, bestie, we got you. So we're over here, we're waiting in line. The Williams people are like talking to us, everything. And we're coming up with questions for everyone and anyone. And I think it was Zach who came up to us first because he was just coming in. And we're like, oh, hey, Zach, like, take a picture with us, take a picture with us, whatever, blah, blah. So he takes a picture with us. Oh my God, stunning, by the way. Literally so gorgeous. But anyway, we were like, oh my God, like, that's awesome. Because we didn't think we were going to meet anyone. To be honest, we just were like, we're here for the Q&A. We hope, our questions get asked or whatever. And so James comes back up and we're like, oh, like, bestie, look at our questions. Are these approved? Like, la, la, la. Like, just chatting, being ourselves, talking with him, which then, we ended up talking to everyone on the staff. Like, they basically knew who we were. And then the Q&A happened, and the one great thing is that James was really, and the Williams team, I do have to say, it wasn't just James. James and the Williams team were really looking out for us. Like, they were really making sure that we were taken care of and that our questions were answered, because Kimmy and I were able to ask our questions. I asked one to Leah Block, which you guys can find on my Instagram, and then Kimmy asked one, I think it was to Franco and Zach. It was just so cool because James, whenever he saw the mic get to us, he did like this head nod. And when I tell you, we all died laughing. We died laughing. Like, it was so funny. And at one point before he went on stage, Kimmy had told us, being like, oh, like, ask for his note card, like, ask if you can keep it. Knowing me, I'm gonna ask that, right? So I go, bestie, hey, like, can you give us one of your note cards to keep? And he goes, well, then you would know all my secrets. And I was like, damn, like, I just want a note card, man. Like, but like, like, things like that. Like, we were joking with James, we were joking with the staff, so on and so forth. And they just made sure we were taken care of and that we were able to ask our questions. And then we were the first people able to meet like all the drivers. So we met Leah, we met Luke. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know who Luke was before this. But now I definitely do, because Luke stares into your soul. He has the most piercing eyes, and oh my God, are they gorgeous. Luke looked at me and I was like, oh my God, who are you? I was like, I couldn't. I was in a trance. And even when we left, I was in a trance. I was in a trance so much that the only driver card I didn't get was from Luke. Because his eyes just distracted me so much, you guys. Like, it was so bad. But anyway, that happens. We walk out, we get lunch, we come back, we're doing the sim racing. We spend the whole day there. And that was our plan from the beginning, because we wanted to see Logan Sargeant. We wanted to go to the Q&A later that evening. So then at this point, Danny and I had done the reaction time, and Kimmy had interviewed James for her vlog. And James had said something about like, oh, are you guys going to see Logan? Are you guys waiting around for him? And Kimmy had said like, duh, like, he's our American bestie. Like, of course we are. And he's like, oh, yeah, cool. And so she told us about that when she came back. And we were like, that's like low-key kind of strange. Like, he said that, right? Like, the vibe was, that was interesting, right? But like, whatever. We're like, okay, like, let's go and stand at our spot. Like, let's dominate our area. So we're ready for Logan, and we're just going to stay there. And so Ed, one of the head honchos at Williams, he like comes up to us, like he makes like a beeline for us and kind of like distracts us from our path of where we were going. And he goes, hey, like, have you guys like checked on the app yet if you're gonna meet Logan, like X, Y, and Z? And we're like, oh, like, we didn't even know like it was announced yet on the app. Okay, we'll go look. So then each of us, one by one, we go look. We're not winners. We're not winners. We're not winners. We're not winners. And Ed's like, oh man, like, that's so sad. Like, come follow me. And at that moment, I knew that we were going to meet Logan Sargeant. I knew it in my bones, especially with what Kimmy had told us about what James had said or like hinted at. I was like, there is no way that we are not like meeting Logan of some sorts, or even if he's just like signing something for us, like something is happening. Like, there's just no way, right? Like, everything was perfectly aligning. And so we go over to the merch area, and Ed pulls out the lanyards saying driver. And he goes, congrats, you guys won. You're meeting Logan. What? I kid you not. All four of us were like, I really truly thought all of us were going to cry. And I thought Ed was going to be like, what is going on? But like we all got so emotional and like giddy, and we were like, oh my God, like what? Like, thank you so much. Like, that's so crazy. Like, are you joking? Like, blah, blah, blah. And he was basically like, we see you guys, we appreciate you. Like, here's a token. And it was the nicest thing ever, and just like such a unbelievably like sweet moment of wow, like kindness really does go a long way. I'm such a firm believer that James definitely had a part in us meeting Logan. Like, I just think there's no way like James didn't hint that at Kimmy and him to be like to not help us out in that, like, and that's why I say like kindness goes such a long way, and staying true to who you are, because the whole time we were interacting with James and we w's interacting with the Williams teams, like the Williams team, we were just being ourselves. We weren't trying to be anyone else. We were just having a good time because the Williams fans, it was so much fun. And we also felt so safe and so comfortable. And that's not something I say lightly, because as a female in the F1 space, oh, let me tell you guys, sometimes it doesn't feel safe. Sometimes it doesn't feel comfortable that you could spend the whole day there. And at the Williams event, we truly felt like we didn't want to do anything else except stay there because we felt so safe and comfortable, because the Williams team created such a nurturing environment for us to be in and to like just have a good time. And that's so rare and it was so special. But going back to the story, it is like, don't tell anyone. Mind you, I'm telling everyone here on the internet, but it's passed already. So I feel like it's fair to share this amazing interaction with the Williams team and Logan. But anyway, we then proceed, after he told us not to tell anyone. We all called our parents. I called my mom. If you guys don't know this, my mom loves Logan. She is a huge Logan fan. And let me tell you, when I said, Mom, I'm meeting Logan, the first thing she told me to tell him, please tell him that I think he's adorable. I shit you not, you guys. Logan comes out for the Q&A, and we're still going to try to ask a question or two because, our bestie James asked us to ask a question, so we're going to look out for him. So I raise my hand, and this one's really funny. Now, if you guys don't know how tall I am a very, very, very short girl. I'm 4'11", okay? The people in front of me, tall. Like, they were very, very tall, and I'm a very, very small girl. And Logan and James definitely could not see me. And the spotlight definitely did not know where to go. So I was saying my first two words of my question, and all I feel are two arms around my waist lifting me up. And in that moment, I was like, oh, Kimmy's lifting me up so Logan and James could see me. And when she did that, I have the video, you guys. I have to share it because it is the funniest thing ever. Because you can tell Logan and James are trying not to laugh. And like all you see is darkness to light, because then the spotlight guy could find me because Kimmy picked me up. And then when I was done asking my question, she just plopped me down. And I asked her afterwards. I was like, Kimmy, like, what did you think? And she goes, honestly, I didn't think anything. I just did it. I was like, what an icon. Like, literally, what an icon. But, Logan answered my question. Kimmy was able to ask hers, and he answered. And then it was time to meet Logan. And oh my God, you guys, I was the third one in our group to meet Logan. And Kimmy was the first one. It was Kimmy, Jordan, myself, and then Danny. And Kimmy went first. And from my question, I had said, as a fellow Floridian, whatever. He knew I was from Florida, but I guess Kimmy had said something when she was interacting with him that we're all from America. And he puts his head up and he goes, are you guys all from Florida? And we're like, no. We just like went one by one, like up the stairs, like saying where we're from. And I could physically see Logan like trying not to laugh at us because it was honestly kind of funny. I low-key think I blacked out because all I remember being was like, hi Logan, like it is so nice to meet you. So sorry about the question, because I asked him about the Florida Panthers if they were going to win the Stanley Cup, and he was like, oh, you're getting me nervous, like this and that, because, we don't want to jinx anything here. But I was like, I have to ask it because my dad and I love you. My mom thinks you're adorable. And Logan's over here asking me, how was my trip? Am I having a good weekend? How am I doing? Like, he's genuinely asking me questions like he cares about me. Logan is the nicest human being alive. He's asking me questions about myself. Like, am I having a good trip so far? How was my plane? Like, are you excited for the weekend? Like these questions. I was like, Like I didn't know what to do. I answered him because Danny told me I said words. And if Danny said that words came out of my mouth and that I looked natural and cool, calm, and collective, I believe her. I believe her. I took my picture with Logan, and then the last thing I said before I like ran off was, "We're rooting for you, Logan. Like we love you." And he was like, "Oh, like thank you so much. Like thank you." And like I know that like meant a lot to him. If I was able to meet anyone besides Lando, I'm very glad that I was able to meet Logan because Logan, he's our American bestie. He is like the definition of the American dream. He literally is chasing his dreams and doing it. Logan Sargeant is one of the sweetest human beings alive, and I truly, truly, truly hope that he gets everything he wants in life and more. I was always rooting for Logan, but now after meeting him, I'm even more of a Logan fan, and I'm also more of a Williams fan. I truly think the reason why we were able to, meet as many people as we did that day and experience as many things as we did that day was because of how kind we were to the Williams team and to James. And it was because we just wanted to talk and like get to know them. And it truly like just shows you that kindness and being nice and just staying true to who you are can go such a long way, and it will always reward you in the end. Let's talk about the second one, shall we? There are still good people in the world that truly care about others. Now, Thursday was pit lane walk, okay? Let's talk about what happened afterwards. So, Danny and I knew that Thursday was always going to be a day where we were going to need to figure out transportation. And that's because Friday through Sunday, we had gotten these bus tickets that basically take you to and from the track from Barcelona, so right where we were staying, like our hotel, to the circuit and back. And we're like, okay, great. The only day it doesn't cover is Thursday because that's like a special event. So we just need to figure it out. So we're gonna take a taxi there or an Uber, and then like coming back, we'll probably take a taxi and Uber back, right? No problem. Yeah. We were wrong. We were so wrong. Oh my God, you guys, we literally got stranded. So we're leaving the circuit. We are hungry because we didn't eat a meal beforehand. That was very dumb on our parts. I do admit we should have ate beforehand, but we didn't. So we were hungry, we were dizzy, we were a little disoriented. Like we were like, oh, like what's going on? And we're like, oh, well, like at least we'll be able to grab a taxi. No, none of the taxis were picking up at the hotel behind the circuit. So we're like, okay, like that's fine. Like that's fine. I met up with some friends that I knew from LinkedIn, and they were like, hey, like we're walking to the bus that will take us to the train station. Like we can just all walk together. I was like, okay, like great, like that's fine, like that's perfect. Like at least we're in a group and these people know where they're going, right? The bus never comes. And the group that we were with was like, oh, like we're gonna eat at this restaurant and then maybe we'll go like take an Uber. But Danny and I already had plans to meet our other friend Noelle for dinner in the city. So we're like, you know what? Like it's fine. Like we are going to just walk to the train station. It's a 30-minute walk. In Spain, you have to walk everywhere. It's like New York City. So that's literally nothing. And then like maybe by the time we walk far away from the circuit, like there will be a taxi or an Uber, like we can pick up, right? Like that's what we thought. That was wishful thinking on our parts. We're walking to the train station, and then we're like far enough. We're like, oh, like let's call like a taxi or an Uber. They're like, okay, like we'll connect you in like 5 minutes. So we're sitting there, we're like texting Noelle, like, yeah, we'll be there soon. Like the Uber's gonna pick us up. The Uber then cancels on us. Can't connect you with any drivers in the area. Okay, great. We try to do it again. No drivers in the area. We're like, okay, well, we're gonna have to take this train that we don't know how to read the map. We'll figure it out. Like we will figure it out. Like we're smart. Danny and I together at least have one brain cell individually, and then together we make one actual brain that can produce an actual thought. Well, that didn't happen that day because we go to the train station. The lady helps us buying the ticket, doesn't say anything to us, just like Barcelona. Types it in the machine, we get 2 tickets. We go down to the platform, we look at the map, and I swear to God, you guys, I looked at it and I said, my mom was right. And if you guys don't know this, my mom usually is right about everything. And she had told me before I left that the train in Barcelona is so confusing. And I thought she meant the high-speed train. I was like, that's not confusing. It was so easy getting from Madrid to Barcelona. No, 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 no. My mother met the metro. Yeah, that thing that we couldn't read the map for, that's exactly what my mom was talking about. And in that moment, I knew I was screwed. And I knew my mother was right. And I was like, oh shit. Well, I hope Danny can understand this. She didn't. We could not put our one individual brain cell that we each carry to have one coherent thought. So I was like, okay, well, we're going to have to ask someone. So I was like, okay, let me ask this guy that keeps staring at me. I go up to him. I'm like, do you speak English? No. Do you speak Spanish? And for you guys that don't know, I'm half Cuban. I know one sentence that always ends up helping me out. It's, yo no hablo mucho español, pero lo entiendo. Mi mamá es cubana. Okay? Basically, I said I don't speak much Spanish, but I understand it, and my mom is Cuban. And usually that helps me out because I truly can understand the majority of, what people are telling me in Spanish, and then I can piece it together. Nope, I did not understand anything this guy told me. I thought he said there were no more trains in Barcelona, and I was about to sob. I went to Danny and I said, we are screwed. We need to keep walking on this platform to find someone else because I think that guy just told me there's no more trains going into Barcelona. So we're walking down the platform. I'm trying not to sob. I was very close, you guys. And I see a guy in Formula One merch. But I said, you know what? Let me ask him. Let's just try, right? Danny and I are dressed up in full, like I'm a walking billboard for Lando Norris. She's a walking billboard for Charles Leclerc. Like it's fine. Like at least this guy knows we're all here for Formula One. I go up to the guy. I think he could sense that I was about to sob because I was like, do you speak English? Spanish? Help me. And he goes, I speak English. I speak English. So then he helped me and basically told Danny and I that we need to go to Barcelona. It's going to say it on the top. And that we just need to look at these signs. And then within it, like within the train, there'll be like little things that say, hey, like this is the stop in Barcelona, but there's multiple stops in Barcelona. So we have to know which ones we need to go to. And I guess the only words Danny and I could say were Sagrada Familia. Newsflash, that's not a stop. But anyway, so the guy sees that we are like a mess, right? And he goes, no, come, sit with me. He moves his stuff and he's telling us how he's from North Spain and he takes this train all the time and it's okay, like this and this. And he goes, I'll make sure you guys get on the right train. And we're like, okay, like, thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. The train comes and he goes, this is your train. And I thought he was just going to be like, okay, this is your train. And then you'll look at what stop. No. He went on the train with us and sat with us, even though it wasn't his train. There are angels, everyone, because that guy, what a blessing. Because, oh my God, like, thank you, God, that someone was looking out for us. Multiple people, I should say, because there's multiple people in this story. But like that first angel, like he saved us because he didn't have to go on that train with us. He didn't have to sit with us, but he did. He like missed his train, you guys, to go with us, to sit with us on this train and make sure that we were okay and got there safely to whatever station we needed to go to. Like that, an angel. So anyway, we're on the train. He's talking to us. He's like, okay, so what stop in Barcelona? And all Danny and I can say is Sagrada Familia, Sagrada Familia. And he's like, that's not a stop. What's the stop for Sagrada Familia? Like, what's the station? And we're like, you'll no say. Oh my God. So he tries to look it up. There's no service. So then he asks everyone else in the train, and he basically points at us and says, these two girls need to go to Sagrada Familia. What stop do they get off on? And so everyone's conversing, and I'm just looking at Danny being like, Lord, help me. Please, Lord, help me. Everyone on the train comes to the consensus that we need to get off on the next stop and get the connecting train to L2, the purple line, and go down. Okay, it's very important that we remember he told us to go down and he did the hand motion. And so he's telling us all this and everything. And he goes, you'll be okay. Like, it's okay. You go down the stairs and you'll take the L2, the purple train. Perfect. We got that, right? We get off. We thank him. I see this guy from the train that was in the conversation about the Sagrada Familia stop, and he's like staring at us. And I'm like, oh, maybe he's staring because my shorts are so short, because Danny and I are trying to find these stairs that go down and there's only stairs that go up. So I was like, okay, like whatever. Like I didn't think anything of it. And I was like, okay, well, we can't find stairs that go down. Like, let's go on these stairs that go up and like see if there's a sign. So we go on the stairs up, and there's like, you can turn left or turn right. We go left, right? We're reading the sign, and then all of a sudden we turn around and there's a security guard. And the security guard goes, Sagrada Familia. And all Danny and I did was shake our head up and down. Yes. We said, mm-hmm. We followed him. We followed the security guard. The security guard then goes to the turnstables or turnstiles, goes to the turnstiles. And I see the guy who was on the train in that conversation about Sagrada Familia stop, the one that was staring at me, everything. And I thought, oh, he's just staring because of my shorts. No. He was staring because he was looking out for us, being like, where are these two dumb American girls in Formula One merch going? So he told the security guard to look out for two girls in Formula One merch because they're training with the Sagrada Familia. So then basically their conversation, he's like, is this them? Yes, it is. I'll take them to their station. These two men were looking out for us also. And I was like, oh my God, like there actually are good men in the world, because if we were in America, no, absolutely not. We would not be here to tell the tale. Okay. So anyway, the security guard like overrides us going through. He walks us all the way to where we have to go to another turnstile, and we like put our tickets in. They don't work. We have to buy another one. So the guy waits with us while we buy another ticket. We go through, put our tickets in, they work, and he literally walks us to our platform, you guys. I was like an angel, like thank you so much. And he goes, this is your train. There are 2 stops before yours, and then you're at the Sagrada Familia. We said, thank you. We get on the train. I have never, this is the part. I had felt pretty safe throughout my entire trip to Spain until I got into that metro specifically. And I was like, oh, wow. Yep. Nope. I'm so glad there are only 2 stops. I'm going to hold my breath and hold my phone with so much strength that someone's going to have to physically rip it out of my hands. And so we're like looking at each other, pressed up against each other, and we're about to get to our stop. And this guy like falls into Danny. And all I remember my dad telling me is that people will create distractions to pickpocket you. And I was like, oh my God, we're getting pickpocketed. Like, this is the distraction. But the good thing about how Danny and I were standing is that she could see behind me and I could see behind her. And we had a good view at like the sides. We were not getting pickpocketed. I guess the guy just like fell or whatever. But like at that moment, I was like, of course this would happen to us. Of course this would happen to us on this particular night. We would get pickpocketed. But we didn't. We didn't, everyone. We have never, the doors open. We never left faster a train station in our lives. It was beautiful. When we saw the Sagrada Familia at the top of the steps, we said, thank you, God. We said, thank you, God. Where can I put my donation? Because you literally saved our asses. Because that was very scary, you guys. Okay. So there are still good people in the world that truly care about others. Those 3 angels, the first guy in Formula One merch, the security guard, and the guy who walked us to our platform. If you are listening to my podcast, thank you. Thank you for being good people in this world, because my faith in humanity is restored, because you guys, that was so scary. My third lesson for you guys is you belong in rooms for a reason. Your name is brought in conversation because you are meant to be there. Even if it's not the path or way you thought it would be, it ends up the way it's supposed to. Your work and what you do is special, and it's getting recognized, so enjoy it. You belong here. One of the coolest parts of my trip was I was invited to sunset sessions for Off to the Races. Alexandra, she is the founder of Off to the Races, and she has like group trips to Grand Prix, certain Grand Prix, and she has an itinerary set out and everything. She's basically like your like little like travel guru for her. She plans everything to the T, like to meals, to transportation, to like fun activities. Like she does it all, and she's like literally amazing. And so for the Spanish Grand Prix trip, she had a sunset session, which was at the rooftop of this really, really nice hotel where you were overlooking Barcelona. It wasn't the skyline. I think it was like the beach line. And not only were people that, obviously were a part of her Spanish Grand Prix trip, were there, but also she invited F1 content creators. And I was one of the content creators that was invited to it. And it was my first ever F1 content creator event I've been invited to personally, and it was one of the coolest and nicest things I've ever been invited to in my life. I remember walking out of the elevator with Jordan, being like, oh my God. And like looking around at like everyone who was invited. And you guys, when I tell you some of the biggest names in F1 TikTok were there, I was literally like on the inside, I was freaking out because I was like, how the heck is my name associated or in the same type of vicinity as everyone who was here? It was so surreal and so cool because I'm literally here in an orange little two-piece outfit with my Lando Norris nails. Shout out to Katie from Race Tips for them. They are amazing and I will link it in the show notes below. But like, there I am in my little like two-piece orange outfit with my Lando nails, my little Lando necklace, being like, I'm literally just a girl who's loves to watch the cars go vroom. And she's here on the rooftop overlooking Barcelona with some of the biggest names in F1 social media content. It's so wild to me because I'm in this own little bubble of like my content creation for Formula One and I don't really think anything of it. I'm like, oh, like I just do it for fun and I do it to like create conversation and like talk about the things I want to talk about. Truly a moment where I really had to take in everything. And I know I talk a lot about being delusional and manifesting your dreams. And that was a moment for me where I was like, I really did that. Like, I really, truly did that. I had to keep reminding myself that I belong here and that the future just is going to get bigger and brighter and that I'm ready for it. And that any room that my name is brought up in any room that I walk into, I am there for a reason because I belong there. And even if I don't think I should be there, I am supposed to be there. There is a reason why. And I know that the reason why I was there in Barcelona was not only to meet all the amazing people that I met and to finally meet Alexandra in person because I've been dying to meet her in person, but also to prove to myself that I really am doing everything that I said I was going to do and more, and that the world better watch out for me because I'm not going to stop. I'm really excited and I'm really happy that I get to share that with you guys. Let's talk about number 4. If you have a chance to party with the Dutch army, do it. Let me tell you, when we bought our tickets back in January, we did not know that we bought tickets in the Max Verstappen grandstand because we are us three are Logan Sargeant, Charlotte Claire, and Lando Norris fangirls, okay? Us in the Max Verstappen section wouldn't have been our first choice, but oh my God, you guys, I didn't know how much I needed to experience that in my life. Like, the DJ was amazing. That DJ should have been there when all of us were looking to go somewhere on Tuesday night because that DJ was amazing. He knew what was up, and the Dutch know how to throw a good party. Like, we were partying for an hour before qualifying, and then we were partying an hour before the actual race on Sunday. And they were so inviting. We were the very front row, right in front of the DJ. And on Saturday, not everyone was rowdy, and that's okay. But there was something in Danny, Noel, and I that made us be like, you know what? Let's be the loud, obnoxious Americans. Because after and during every song, not only were we singing and dancing in our seats, but we would be cheering on the DJ. And yep, nope, they definitely could tell we were Americans. They definitely were enjoying it. I know the DJ was loving us because we were really helping him out. Like, we really did him we did him a solid by cheering him on. But like, no, like, we provided entertainment for everyone. We were blessing everyone with our amazing dance moves and obnoxious singing. Like, that's just what it was. And at one point, he literally was like, all the women in motorsports, like all the women fans, like, please stand up, please stand up. And then he points directly at us and he goes, please stand up. I'm not going to deny the DJ of that. So I stood up and did the Macarena. You guys, I know for a fact that Dan and I are definitely on Red Bulls and F1's social media channels. And if they're not on there yet, they will be on there soon because there are multiple cameras pointed directly at us and in our faces. Specifically during the Max Verstappen song, Danny and I'm a walking billboard again for Lando Norris, so I'm in Lando Norris gear. Danny's a walking billboard for Charles Leclerc in Charles Leclerc and Ferrari gear, and we're over here screaming, singing, do do do, Max Verstappen, do do do. Literally, and the F1 camera, F1 media, right there, right in our faces, while we were doing that, dressed in Lando and Charles Leclerc gear. If we're not on any type of promo, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with the world because we honestly were delivering free entertainment for everyone. But yeah, if you have a chance to party with the Dutch Army, please do it. You won't regret it, okay? It needs to be on your bucket list like pronto. The next one, you guys, okay? Podium runs will kill you. Don't do them. You will die or fall into a tire like I did. Our little group were ready for this podium run. We got to the gate. We executed our plan perfectly. Kimmy is prepping me saying, listen, Amanda, you need to run. You may get trampled. You need to prepare, stand your ground, and run like you've never run before in your life. And I said, okay, bet. Like, how bad could it be? I am not a runner. But you know what? I will run for Lando Norris. I was like, okay, great. Like, I'll be fine, right? No. No. I was not fine. Okay. My body was fully facing front to the gate. All of a sudden, they open the gate. My body gets turned around 360. All of a sudden, I'm pushed against the fence. My hand is like grabbing the fence. My nail is like low key getting stuck. One of my legs is like slipping down the step on the gravel almost. Like I'm about to do a split. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get trampled because I also lost my balance at that point. Kimmy, by the grace of God, again, saves me. I don't know how she did this. She turns me around, saves me from falling over and getting trampled. And all I hear after that is, run, Amanda, run. And she's running. I don't know where Jordan went. Don't know where Cynthia went. All I see is Kimmy running and her telling me, run, Amanda, run. So I'm running, right? I'm running like I'm about to get Olympic gold, okay? Oh my God, never again in my life. I run, somehow I get next to Kimmy. Jordan, no idea where she went. And Cynthia somehow made her way pressed up against Scary. We'll never, ever do that again. The podium is finished. We're like, okay, let's try to get out, right? Because there's one exit to get out of. Crowded. Cannot be us. We will never make it out. Because we're also trying to meet the drivers, right? Cynthia and Kimmy were like, let's jump the tire wall. Again, I'm 4'11" and wearing the shortest shorts known to man. And I said, one, I can't reach it. And two, I'm not wearing appropriate clothing. And Cynthia goes, okay, well, let me tie my sweatshirt around you. That solves one of the problems. And then just put your foot in my hand. I used to be a cheerleader and I'll just push you up. I said, okay, dumb. I'm so dumb. Cynthia hoists me up. Half of my body is on the flat part of the tire. The other half of my body, guess what, guys, is in the hole of the tire, okay? So half of my body is inside the tire. Kimmy is already on the other side, and she turns around, she looks, and she laughs at me, and she goes, if your full body was in it, I would have helped you after I'd taken a picture. And I said, thank you so much, Kimmy. Get the rest of my body outside of that tire, crawl to the end. And I was like, Kimmy, I can't get down. This is too tall for me. She picks me up like a child and places me on the floor. I said, never again. Never again will I do a podium run. I've experienced it once, and I will never, ever do it again. My last lesson, you guys. Everything happens at the right time, at the right moment. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. It just means it's not the right time right now. solely relates to the saga of me only seeing Lando for 0.2 seconds. As we all know, I love Lando Norris. He's my favorite driver. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone on this planet. I am, again, a walking advertisement, a walking billboard for him. And I have no regrets in that. I truly, truly do not. Like, does it sting just a little? Just a little. That every time there was a chance of me either seeing or meeting Lando, it just didn't happen. Of course. Of course that's a little like, oh man, like it sucks. It does, but I take it as it is not the right time for me to lay eyes on Lando for more than 0.2 seconds or to meet him. It's going to happen when it is the right time, when it's supposed to happen, at the perfect moment in my story. And when it does happen, because it will, Lord help us all, because I will not shut up about it. I will talk about it every day until the day I die, basically. I know I will. I will be insufferable. Those are my lessons from the Spanish Grand Prix. All right, Radiant Icons, that is your tea time session for today. I know it was a little bit of everywhere. I know it was chaotic. I know it was unhinged, but you know what? That was my trip to the Spanish Grand Prix. It was a little bit of everything and more. And I spilled all that tonight. And I'm very proud to say that I lived to tell the tale, because on Thursday I definitely didn't think I would be here doing this podcast episode. I was very scared, you guys. I was very, very scared and terrified. But you know what? We're here. We are here, and there are angels, and my faith in humanity is restored. My trip to the Spanish Grand Prix was a once-in-a-lifetime trip that I genuinely will never forget. I think it is so cool to say, or even to have the privilege to say, I was able to travel to Spain, and I was able to, on top of going to another country and experiencing a different culture and a different environment and different foods, but to go to the Spanish Grand Prix, a sporting event that I have created such a community around, like the F1 community, right? And a sport that I talk about a lot, that I love so much, and being able to have these pockets of just amazing experiences, like meeting Logan Sargeant, meeting Bessie James, talking to Leah Block, like seeing Lando Norris for 0.2 seconds, and having a positive mindset on that whole Lando situation, right? Because Amanda 2 years ago, would have never automatically been like, you know what? It's okay that I didn't meet my favorite driver and that I didn't see him for longer than I did. Like, I would have never said that 2 years ago, a year ago. Like, I never would have had that positive mindset of being like, it's not the right time right now and it will happen when it's meant to happen. I would have never said that. And just to see the growth in myself of who I've come into, like this beautiful, strong, iconic version of myself, and to see it like further develop in life in different situations and scenarios is really, really cool. And I hope that what you can take from this very chaotic and unhinged episode is the lessons, right? These lessons are universal. They don't just apply to my trip to the Spanish Grand Prix, but being kind and staying true to you, and you belong in these rooms, even if you don't think you do, or it's not the right time right now, but when it is, it will be the right time at the right moment, and it will perfectly align for you. These universal lessons that I was able to apply to specific scenarios on my trip. I just hope you guys are able to take these lessons and apply them to scenarios in your life or situations that have happened, and are able to reflect and take a step back and be like, oh, you know what? Yes, like that's how I want to look at it. That's how I should look at it from here on out. Like, I hope that sharing what I've learned and the stories of everything that has happened, that you guys are able to take pockets of it and apply it to your own life and continue to dare to be iconic in your own unique way, because we are daring to be ourselves. Okay, I'm done. I will see you guys next week, where I answer all your questions about my trip to Spain and any Spanish Grand Prix tea that I did not spill in this episode, because I know there are probably stories that I didn't tell. So I'll see you guys next week. Remember, Radiant Icons, dare to be iconic. Bye.